You've seen the list before. Maybe on Facebook, maybe forwarded by an aunt. The Good Wife's Guide, 1955, Housekeeping Monthly. Have dinner ready. Touch up your makeup. A good wife always knows her place. Everything you've heard about that list is wrong. That magazine never existed. Investigators found no magazine called Housekeeping Monthly ever published in the US or the UK, and the accompanying photo was traced to a 1957 British magazine cover, cropped to hide its original caption. It's a hoax. A good one. It's been fooling people for over 20 years. But here's what should actually keep you up at night. The real rules didn't need a fake magazine article. They were just in the air of every kitchen in America. You couldn't point to them, couldn't quote them back at anyone. You just felt them, in 1,000 small decisions that were never really yours to make. This is the true story. No hoax. Just history. Rule 1. Marry young. Marry now. For 25 years in the middle of the 20th century, the median age of first-time brides in America never reached 21. By 1956, it bottomed out at just 20.1, the youngest women in this country have ever married, before or since. There was a word for a woman still single at 24. An old maid. Nobody said it kindly. A girl who waited too long felt the silence in the room when marriage came up at Sunday dinner. Rule 2. Don't finish what you started. Colleges had a name for it, half joking, half not. The Mrs. degree. Go to school, but really, go to find a husband. If you found your match by junior year, nobody blinked if you left before graduation. Some women packed their dorm rooms into a moving truck with a diamond on their finger and an unfinished transcript in a drawer, and never went back. Rule 3. Even if you kept working, you weren't allowed to keep it forever. This one wasn't just culture, it was policy. For decades, thousands of school boards and offices ran what historians call a marriage bar. Fire the woman or refuse to hire her the moment she married. By the early 1950s, the bars were fading fast. Only about 18% of school boards still refused to hire married women. 10% still fired them on the spot. But fading isn't gone. A teacher in the wrong town, the wrong decade, could lose her classroom the same week she gained a ring. This wasn't fully outlawed nationwide until the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Rule 4. Look like you're not tired. No matter how the day actually went, the diapers, the dishes, the argument with the milkman, you fixed your hair before he walked through that door. Exhaustion was allowed, showing it wasn't. Women got good at performing ease the way actresses perform calm, humming through a fight with a toddler that had ended 30 seconds before the front door opened. Rule 5. Togetherness was a marketing word, and you were supposed to want it. In 1954, McCall's magazine coined the term togetherness to sell an entire vision of family life. Everyone home, everyone happy. Mother at the center, making it all run like a quiet, invisible engine. It sold refrigerators and station wagons. Underneath the glossy photography, it was a full-time, unpaid job dressed up as a feeling. Rule 6. Never contradict him. Especially not in front of people. Etiquette guidance of the era was blunt about it. A wife's disagreement belonged behind closed doors, never at the dinner table with the neighbors over. Women got very good at one skill: the tight, closed-lip smile that said everything was fine, while a whole argument waited, folded up, for the car ride home. Everything so far has been social pressure. The next rule became something much harder to escape. Rule 7. If your marriage was unhappy, that was your job to fix. Quietly. Ladies' Home Journal ran a column for decades called, "Can This Marriage Be Saved?" Women wrote in anonymously, describing husbands who disappeared for days, who frightened them, And the advice, session after session, leaned the same direction. Understand him more, try harder, keep the family whole. Divorce carried a social scar that followed a woman into every PTA meeting for the rest of her life. So women stayed. Not because the trouble wasn't real, but because leaving cost more than staying did. Rule 8. Even your college graduation was about him. In 1955, Adlai Stevenson stood before the graduating class at Smith College and told those young women their purpose was to shape democracy through their husbands and children from inside the home. Not beside him, behind him, gently steering. The smartest young women in America were told at their own commencement that their education existed to serve someone else's life. Rule 9. Keep the peace, even when there's nothing peaceful about it. Emotional labor didn't have a name yet, but everybody's mother was doing it, reading her husband's mood the moment his car hit the driveway, deciding whether tonight was a night to mention the broken washing machine. She managed his stress before her own. None of it counted as work. Rule 10. Be frugal, but never mention money. Home economics classes taught budgeting like a science, stretching one paycheck across a family of 5. And yet in most households, the bank account and the mortgage belonged to him. A wife could be the reason a family stayed afloat, and never once see her own name on a statement. Rule 11. Have the babies. Have a lot of them, and don't ask why everyone agreed at once. In 1957, births in America hit an all-time high, 4.3 million in a single year. The average woman was expected to have nearly 4 children in her lifetime, a fertility rate of 3.77, the highest ever recorded in this country. That wasn't an accident of biology. It was advertising showing nurseries in every new suburban home. It was tax policy that rewarded big families. It was a culture that quietly measured a woman's worth in cribs. Rule 12. And here's the one that should stop you cold. You could do everything right. Marry young, keep the house spotless, raise the children, and still find the financial system barely recognized you. In practice, married women were routinely denied credit in their own name. Most banks required a husband to co-sign, and any credit card was issued as Mrs. his name, with the credit history belonging to him alone. If he died, or the marriage ended, that history could vanish with him. That kind of discrimination remained legal in much of the country until the Equal Credit Opportunity Act took effect on October 28, 1974. The law didn't make women invisible. It had simply never told banks they couldn't treat them that way. Sit with that. A woman could run a household for 20 years, never miss a payment, and financially, on paper, she barely existed apart from him. So the next time that fake magazine article shows up in your feed, remember what it actually is. A caricature of something that didn't need exaggerating. The real version already wore a softer face. It smiled across the kitchen table. And underneath, it asked an entire generation of women to fold themselves smaller, quietly, and call it love. But here's where it turns. Betty Friedan interviewed her own Smith College classmates years after that Stevenson speech and found a private ache so many women felt but couldn't name. That ache became a book. That book became a movement. Your grandmother's silence became your mother's voice, and your mother's voice became your choice. The 1950s housewife didn't get to keep her name on the credit she built with her own hands, but she raised the women who would. If your mother or grandmother lived through any piece of this, I want to hear her story. Tell me in the comments, what's one thing she did, big or small, that you'll never forget? I read every single one.